Hey YouTubers, I hope you're enjoying the content. Before we get to today's video, I want everyone to go hit that bell over by the subscriber button so you're notified every single time I upload. Enjoy the video. Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to another Dragon Ball Super discussion. And I have, once again with me, joining me, is MJ over at GeeklistTV. And before we get started, I want everyone to pause the video, go down to the description section below, and make sure to hit that link and subscribe to MJ because this guy brings so much content for you guys. Like, honestly, I haven't said this enough, but I will say it because he didn't interrupt me, so he does get like a full introduction this time.
I like how you hesitated with the "Hey YouTubers." Like you were thinking I was gonna interrupt you, right? You were like,
exactly.
"Hey YouTubers."
Anyway, guys, so yeah, like MJ makes some really awesome content. You really should sub to him if you haven't already, because like honestly, I say this over and over and over again, but I just want to re-emphasize this point that this guy works harder than most people in this community, and he really does deserve your love and support, and he will always bring quality content to the table for you guys to listen to. But anyway, with that being said, we're going to be talking about Frieza and the Tournament of Power and the Friezas no F arc of Dragon Ball Super, and whether or not Frieza's involvement with this, no matter where it goes from here. We just watched episode 94 yesterday. It's Sunday when we're recording this. I'm not necessarily sure exactly when this is going up, but it should go up before episode 95. So, has Frieza's involvement with this arc justified his involvement with the entire series as a whole? And I'm not talking about Dragon Ball. I'm not talking about Dragon Ball Z specifically. I'm not talking about Dragon Ball GT or any of the outside Dragon Ball sources, either movies or games or anything, honestly. I'm talking about Dragon Ball Super, the Friezas no F arc, and now the Tournament of Power, and whether or not what we've seen from Frieza, not what we're going to see, not any speculation or anything else, talking about him, going to see him, and seeing what he's been capable of, and not even what we saw in the 95 episode preview, has it redeemed and basically made the entire Friezas no F retelling, or even the movie, worth it to the greater portion of Dragon Ball Super. And I think MJ and I have opposing viewpoints at this point, so I'm going to let him go first and explain his viewpoint, and then I'm going to rebut.
Well, I mean, redeem is such a heavy word. Maybe you could argue that it's given some weight to the arc, and what I mean by that is usually on our videos, whether Real to Real's on my channel or I'm on his channel, you'll hear us talking about how there's no like continuity within Super itself. Not so much continuity like from Z, because there is continuity between Z and Super, but more so continuity within each own arc, because it's like an arc happens and then like it's just like whatever happened in the arc is like immediately forgotten, or just or like they take it away, stuff like that. So the idea that, the reason why Goku went to Frieza was because, he's strong, they can use his power. Like, I believe he literally states that. Yeah, it does give that arc some weight now, because people like kind of just thought, man, that arc just happened and then it was it. Like Frieza's hardly ever mentioned. It's not like in Z when Frieza was killed, he was mentioned all the way up to the Boo arc, you know what I mean? So after that, like Frieza wasn't really mentioned anymore after the ROF arc, at least in Super. And it kind of just like dawned on me, the fact that Goku went to him because he has that golden form, and they also took a plot point out of Super. Remember, and I think this is both in the movie and in the arc as well, Goku's like, hey, we can be rivals, if you weren't so evil, you know what I mean, or like, I'm enjoying fighting you, right, stuff like that. Frieza goes in episode 93, I believe, hey, I can get much stronger. Don't you want to fight me again? Because I want to fight you, right? So they're kind of taking that plot point where, they just love to fight each other. You know what I mean? They're kind of like rivals at this point. And whether you argue it makes sense or not, or if Frieza should be acting like that, that's up to you. I'm not gonna get into that, but Frieza did show, like, I guess, admiration for Goku and ROF. Like, that's the reason why he let him transform, you know what I mean? And that's the reason why Goku let Frieza transform. It's like they want to fight each other at their best. They want to pummel each other at their best. That's almost, yeah, it's not really even out of character now that I think about it, because Frieza said the same thing in Z. When King Cold, let's blow up the planet Earth, he was like, no, I want to beat this Saiyan with my own hands. So it's like, like they have like this thing where they want to fight each other at their best. They don't want to take any easy way out, even though Frieza did shoot him with a laser when he was off guard. But the point here is that I feel like it does add weight to that arc. I know I'm rambling, but I feel like it does add weight. It actually adds meaning. It gives the golden transformation a meaning, you know?
Mm-hmm. I understand where you're coming from with that, but I just want to rebut. I understand where you're coming with when it talks about like Goku and Frieza basically being rivals and having this admiration for each other or desire to fight each other at their peak for the most part. But when it comes to Frieza as a whole or as a character, I feel like Dragon Ball Super at this point has really dropped the ball when it comes because he's not as ruthless as he was or seems to be when we first meet him on Namek in Dragon Ball Z. I feel like one of the things that Super has done is overemphasize Frieza or overemphasize his importance to the entire series with the fact that they're bringing him back not once but twice in the main story of the main canon, if you want to basically say what canon is for Dragon Ball. Not to mention that that's what they did in Dragon Ball Z, where they had Goku versus Frieza on Namek, and then basically Frieza came back with the whole robotic transformation and everything. I feel like he's such a ruthless, unbelievably unquenchable thirst for violence type of character that overutilizing that particular character trait is not necessarily good for the character as a whole. You have a person who you necessarily can't grow. He's almost the exact opposite of Goku, where Goku will always be the most endearing, charismatic character in the world, and even basically selfish with the way that he approaches most situations. But at the same time, Frieza is always going to be the prick. He's always going to be the space Nazi for the most part, who doesn't like a certain race of people and would be okay with killing everyone in sight. But that type of characterization gets old if it doesn't grow or mature to any real degree, and you can't do that with Frieza. So I feel like they're overutilizing him at this point. You know what I mean? I
see your point. It's hard. That's why I said it's up to you whether you want to call it development or not with what happened when Frieza's resurrected. Like, it's really up to you, because I have seen people say it is development for his character anyways, and then I've seen people say that it isn't. But basically what I'm talking about is when he's resurrected, he basically wants to go to Earth, you know what I mean? So he can fight Goku, and then Sorbet has to tell him, exactly what happened, that, Goku's not the same Goku anymore. He's fought Boo, he's fought stuff like that, you know what I mean? So, what do you call it? People have actually said maybe that's character development because he had to humble himself. He can't just do what he did before, go straight to Earth. He had to actually admit that Goku is greater than him, and he had to train, you know what I mean? Now, whether you want to call that development or not, like I said, it's up to you. But see, I was going to say this, though. I do feel like they've captured him in Super, at least, I didn't feel like he was in character in the movie. I thought he was a bit out of character in the movie. But in Super, I feel like they've captured him pretty much to what he was in Z for the most part. Now, again, that goes with the whole, is it development or not, because he's been the same character. What I mean by this is when he's first introduced and resurrected, he fucking tortures Taguma. You know what I mean? The first thing he does is he shoots Taguma's arm, he shoots his legs, and then he shoots his other leg, and then he shoots his other arm, and then he's laughing at it. You know what I mean? And that is very reminiscent of what he was doing to the Namekians and what he did to Nell when he first fought Nell. Let's go back to what he did on Namek. Him and Zarbon Dodoria and their men, they tortured the Namekians, got their balls, you know what I mean? Then when he found out that he had to make a deal with Guru, or he had to stay calm in that situation, him and Nell go off to go fight each other. Then he pretty much tortures Nell when he could just flick him and defeat him. He said he tortures him. Then we get to, where he fights Gohan, Vegeta, and Krillin. And what does he do? You know what I mean? When Gohan outpowers him, he starts torturing Gohan instead of just finishing him off with one blast. And then on top of torturing Gohan, he then fights Piccolo. And then here you go. You see the pattern here. He tortures Piccolo. Instead of killing him with one blast, he's shooting those little itty bitty blasts at him and just breaking his body down. And what happens after that? He tortures Vegeta, you know? So it's like he has this thing where he just wants to torture people. We get that here. And then, you know, he tortures Gohan in the arc. You know, that was different from what happened in the movie. He tortures Gohan in the arc by just breaking his body down to where he drops him back from Super Saiyan to base, just shooting little bitty lasers at him. This is what I get. Now, this is where I mean where they kind of kept them in the same character, is that now what we're getting here and Super in the Tournament of Power arc compared to ROF arc, yeah, he still is that, you know, that guy who'll just raise his finger and kill a nigga, you know what I mean? He'll still do that. But see, the point here is that he's actually being manipulative, you know what I mean? He's like in this bargain with Goku, and that reminds me of like Frieza on Namek when he would, you know, try to like, he knew in his position he could get what he wanted like that, but the making Dragon Balls being like this mythical, you know, magical thing, he had to like make sure to take precaution, you know what I mean? So here he's doing that here, where he's kind of manipulating Goku. Let me use their Dragon Balls and I'll fight for your team, or I'll fight in the Tournament of Power, stuff like that. But at the same time, he's not that ruthless, because in the recent episode, Goku's asking that assassin questions, and then Frieza just comes up and kills him, you know, shoots him. So it's like he still is that I'll raise my finger and I'll shoot you, you know what I mean? Basically.
Mm-hmm. No, I have to admit, like, I did like that and the whole transformation part and all of the everything that basically went along with that. But at the same time,
before you go, did you catch when Goku turned his cheek and he had that scrape? So
yeah,
that was a cool, like that's some cool art direction right there.
That was so intentional. That was so great. Like, that is Frieza's character. One thing I want to say is, when you look at the leaks, and I know the leaks aren't necessarily true or false yet. We're basically just going off of what could be false information, but we're gonna have to just wait and see. If Frieza ends up turning sides, and I know I'm going off a little bit of my own, I guess we're going off a little bit of my own rules at the beginning of this video, but I do want to make this point because I think it's worth making, is Frieza fighting along, or being forced to fight along Goku, whether it has this greater meaning to it, or even just these two people who should be rivals, or just basically frenemies the same way that Goku and Vegeta are, but have less respect for each other, or even more respect for each other, depending on how you look at it. It was going to be interesting, and I thought it would be cool to see Frieza fight along Goku reluctantly, or anything else like that, two enemies having to fight for a greater good of saving their entire universe. But the leaks that we've gotten, and potentially the way this arc could play out, just has me very unexcited about all this, is because they're basically taking Frieza and they're going to stick him in the same douchebag category that he's always been on. And considering the fact that he's only going to be around for 24 hours, this was a perfect opportunity to make him fight for what was right and not necessarily redeem him. Could still have these interesting issues with his morality versus everything else going on in the tournament, but they're basically going to be robbing us of that. And I feel like that is something worth mentioning, even if it goes a little bit out of my own context of how I set up this video and what we're going to be talking about, just basically having Frieza back for maybe 2 episodes. But with that being said, from what I see right now, if all of the leaks are true, I feel like there's a lot of promise here, but I don't feel like at the same time it has redeemed the fact that they brought up Frieza not once but now twice in this entire arc, when it was perfectly acceptable for them to basically skip over this entire arc with using the movies as semi quote-unquote canon, the same way the manga did. I always thought that the reason the manga basically skipped it and the anime didn't was because they were still trying to buy time for the anime or the manga to basically be a promotional material of what was going to happen next in Dragon Ball Super, and obviously we're not there anymore. So that's just my opinion.
Well, I mean, my opinion on the leaks is I hope they're not true, because I actually don't agree with that, like, whatsoever. Like, I mean, it could work, but they would have to introduce an entirely new way, in my opinion, to resurrect someone. At least that's what, you know, because I think it was already pretty much, I don't want to say it's confirmed, but at least the general assumption is there aren't Dragon Balls in any other universes except for 7 and 6. And then so far the spies that, you know, the Universe 4 God Destruction sent, they were most likely only sent to Earth to watch over Goku. So I don't even know how they would know about the Namekian Dragon Balls, because even Gowasu thought the entire Dragon Ball, you know, thing was just an entire myth in itself. So I feel like there would have to be in a completely other way to resurrect someone, and that's what they proposed to Frieza. But I'll get off topic here. My point.
Well, I just want to actually butt in and say the fact that I completely agree with where you're going with this, but it has been kind of indicated the fact that they've been watching GodTube, and for whatever reason GodTube's been recording all this crap, so they know about Frieza. They've seen what Frieza is capable of doing. It's not unbelievable.
Oh, you're saying they may have seen what was on Namek, like the Dragon Ball.
They might. It's not unbelievable that they wouldn't know about the Namekian Dragon Balls, and even because of this, where the Namekian Dragon Balls are now, considering there is a new Namek. I'm just saying it's not unbelievable.
Okay, but see, they would have to explain that, because my first thought was that one of the spies was going to overhear Bulma mentioning that the Earth's Dragon Balls don't resurrect you a second time. Yeah. So I thought the spy was going to inform the god, and they were going to inform Frieza that, you know, your guys are lying to you, you know. Your acquaintances are lying to you. So I thought that was going to be what caused them to turn. But the whole point is here that, going back to the ROF and the Frieza stuff, is that this tournament of power is indicating that Frieza wants to be resurrected, and he wants to fight Goku again, which, like I mentioned before, it's really up to you if you want to decide if that's character development or if that's just Frieza being Frieza, because like I mentioned, he's been like that after the Namek arc. You know, he wanted to come fight Goku. He didn't want to take the easy way out. He wanted to fight him with his bare hands. Did the same thing here. He could have just destroyed the planet. He didn't. You know, he fought Goku with his bare hands, and then if something went wrong, he had Sorbet plant the laser thing. You know what I mean? So it's like, he has this thing where he does want to fight Goku. That's kind of already been implemented even in Z. Now, whether you like that or not, again, that's up to you, because some people would disagree with you, Mark, and some people, I've actually seen this on Twitter, I've told you about it. Some people say that his character should stay the same. It should stay down to the nail, because he shouldn't be a character like Piccolo or Vegeta that changes whatsoever, you know? Like, I'm not saying that I agree with that, but I've seen that thrown around before.
Well, I'm not necessarily saying he shouldn't I'm not saying he shouldn't change. I think he should stay the same. I'm just saying we have him down pat using 24 hours worth of power, and the fact that he keeps turning golden means it's going to be less and less so 24 hours and more so just actual hours and or minutes. So I really think that they could force him to fight this way even though he doesn't want to, and then eventually find a way to screw him over or something, or at least take him out of that cocoon, as Danny likes to talk about. Give him different scenery, the same way that Goku basically mentioned in the last episode. Give him different scenery. So I really feel like it wouldn't necessarily be a redemption or a character trait for him. It would just be making a bad guy fight for the other side for the pure necessity of it. I think that would be interesting. But with the leaks and everything, whether they're true or not, I'm saying, and I just wanted to emphasize that I'm not necessarily excited about that, because it takes that kind of character development, that kind of storyline away from us when there was so much potential there. When they basically introduced that Frieza was coming back to fight alongside Universe 7, we blew up with the idea that Frieza was going to have to fight against all these other universes with Goku and Vegeta, and how would he interact or deal with that particular knowledge or that particular situation. And now they're basically taking that away from us.
I'm going to tell you how this whole Frieza thing's going to end real quick before we get out of here. So basically, the end of the next episode is they're going to defeat the assassins. Frieza's still going to be in his golden form. He's going to turn to Goku, and he's going to be like, shall we go? Goku's going to extend his hand. Frieza's just going to dematerialize, and then he's going to be back in the cocoon, and he's going to be like, what the f? And then Goku's going to like do that thing where he scratches his head, smiles. He's going to be like, oh yeah, I forgot to tell him that you burn out your time when you use too much power. Then,
that would be epic.
And then, of course, Goku's going to go back. You know, we only have 9 fires, and then Beerus is going to lose his shit.
That would be
because, bro, the golden form should be way, way stronger than the Super Saiyan 3 transformation. And he only used it for, like, what, a few minutes against Boo, and he had already wasted, like, half his day when he went back.
You know, I want to just re-emphasize this. Like, why that makes sense is because it looks very much like the manga's not going to be covering this particular issue, or this particular, like, preliminary and gathering the fighters and all that. It's just going to skip that part.
It'll leave it ambiguous, you know, like how
But but yeah, so like when in the manga, if you're only following the manga, when Universe 4 shows up and Frieza's on the team and everyone's like, what? Like, that would actually work both ways, because if Goku's just like, oh yeah, I totally forgot about this, and then like Frieza's done, we need another person, it's Yamcha, okay, we got our 10 people, we go to the tournament, and Universe 4 goes to Universe 7's hell and basically makes a deal with him. It's like, we'll bring you back and you'll fight for us, because we saw you killed all these assassins, we saw just how ruthless and unwavering you are, we'll bring you back, and all this other stuff happens. Like, that would be epic, because when he shows up, it will be a genuine shock for everyone in Universe 7.
Oh my god, I could just imagine some people going crazy over that, being brought back twice. We gone way off topic here. That's my fault.
We got way off topic. But we'll end it at that. Guys, tell us what you think about this in the comment section below. Do you think that Frieza being back at this point, and, you know, go beyond what I said at the beginning of this video, what we've seen, what we've heard, any potential leaks or spoilers or even guesses, speculations, theories you have, will this arc basically redeem everything in the Fakatsu no F arc, or basically bringing Frieza back as much as they have in this particular series? Like I said, not necessarily Z or GT, but mostly just Super, or not the movies or video games or anything else. So with that being said, please make sure to go down to the description section below. Like I said at the beginning of the video, please make sure to go check out MJ and all the content that he brings to you guys, because you won't be disappointed. And also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content going forward. Please make sure to hit that bell over by the subscriber button in order to get more content from me whenever I upload. And we're going to catch y'all in the next video. Bye.